sick boy, better call a doctor. My team ballin' like the Knickerbockers. Rim rockers, silk shockers, throw your hands up like Serge Ibaka.
Whoa, alright, so if you guys have been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time on this page or on this channel, if this is your first time seeing one of my videos, welcome. I hope you enjoy the content in this one. For this week's video, we're going to be talking about how to deal with stress. Yeah. See, stress is something that almost everyone has had to deal with. Odds are, regardless of what you do for a living, who you are, where you live, you have had to deal with some form of stress. Depending on the details, it's either been a little bit of stress or a lot of stress. I'll tell you, the tough thing about stress is once you realize that you are stressed, or once you realize that you're feeling stressed or you're feeling some stress, usually you feel it more. It almost stresses you out more because now you know that you kind of have to deal with this. And most people don't know really how to deal with it, at least not how to deal with it in a healthy way, so they just kind of wait for it to go away. But you don't have to do that. There's actually a couple different things that you can do that you can approach the stress, and it'll make it subside, or at least it will lessen the burden that you're feeling, so that eventually, when it does go away, you can resume your day. Like you, I've dealt with my share of stress and stressful situations. And because I've dealt with them, I kind of feel like as a community, we should be able to help each other out, especially when it deals with things like stress and depression and different things like that. So, in this video, I'm going to give you my ways for dealing with stress. And I hope that they help you. If they don't help you, that's cool. If you have a way of dealing with stress that I don't mention in this video and you want to share it, please feel free to place it in the comments below. Alright? So, let's get straight into the video. If you've seen any of my videos, you've probably heard me reference at one point or another the first way that I'm going to tell you that I deal with stress. And that's because I personally apply this to almost everything. And the first way that I deal with stress, or that I've dealt with stress in the past, is I accept it so that I can deal with it. And here's the reason why I kind of say that I always try to accept things. See, stress is part of life. Like it or not, one way or another, we're all going to have to deal with stress. Some of us will have to deal with more stress than others. Some of us will have to deal with different forms of stress. It kind of varies depending on you and, you know, what you do for a living and your life. But we all have to deal with stress. And because we all have to deal with stress, it's something that we all have to learn how to accept. This isn't something that's just happening to you. It's happening to everyone. Stress is a part of life. It comes with life. As with anything else, with all the other, tough moments in life, and with all the other things that we have to feel and deal with in life, stress is one of them. Understanding and accepting that stress goes hand in hand with life helps you to realize that if you're feeling stressed, really what that means is that you're living in some aspect of living, really. In some aspect of the word you're living if you're feeling stressed. And you gotta realize that, again, everyone has felt stressed, or everyone feels stressed at one point or another. So don't feel too defeated when you're stressed out about something. Don't let it overtake you. Don't let it overwhelm you. Just try to remember that, this is a part of life. You're doing something right if you're feeling stressed usually. Usually means you're experiencing something. So, keep experiencing, keep living. Don't feel defeated. Don't get too down on yourself. And just accept that this is part of life. But accepting that it's part of life doesn't mean that you can't control it. See, that's the difference. You can control it. In order to gain control of a stressful moment or a stressful time, what I like to do is, and this is my second way of dealing with stress, is I like to put things in perspective. And when I put things in perspective, I mean a real perspective. Meaning, don't make things bigger than they actually are. Alright? Usually when we make things bigger than they are, we make things overwhelming. And that's when things become really stressful. And things become really hard to cope and to deal with. To the same token, don't make big things smaller than they are. Because when we brush big things off and we just kind of put them to the side, what happens is over time, they just continue to get worse. And they'll get bigger. And as they get bigger, now when you have to deal with it, it's going to be like you're dealing with a mountain. What you have to do is you have to analyze the situation and accept that it is what it is and deal with it as what it is. And that sounds really tough to do. But, you know, when things happen and you're starting to get stressed out, just put things in perspective for a moment, alright? If it's not a life or death situation where your life will literally end if you don't do something right, or your life may, you know, take a turn for the worse because you're not doing something you need to do. If it's not one of those situations, then it's not life or death. And if it's not life or death, don't make it life or death, alright? This is the thing about stress. Like, we make things bigger than they have to be. Now, if it is one of those things where it is life or death, instead of getting stressed out about it, just analyze the situation and view it for what it is. Again, don't make it smaller than what it is, but don't make it bigger than what it is. The third thing that I usually do to, you know, try to get past stress after I've already, you know, put things in a real perspective is I deal with it in a healthy way. And I gotta emphasize a healthy way, alright? Because we all have vices and we all have ways of dealing with things that are not necessarily healthy. You know, binge eating and, you know, massive shopping and drinking and doing drugs and these are just a couple of the vices that I'm naming that people associate with to deal with stressful situations. Those aren't healthy ways to deal with stress. Those are just quick and easy fixes that we've been conditioned and programmed to use to deal with stress. But really, all that they're doing is they're just kind of masking what's happening for the moment. And usually once the effects of those things go away, the problem is still there and the stress is still there. So really, those things are just a band-aid on a really deep wound. They're not actually, you know, helping in the long term. Are they helping? They do. In the short term, yes, it's gonna help stop the bleeding, but you're still bleeding under there. There's still a problem. So just putting a band-aid on something isn't the solution. You have to deal with it. You have to deal with it in a healthy way. The best way to deal with something in a healthy way is to approach it head on. Bam, like straight head on. Deal with it. Look at it right in the face and deal with it then. That's the most healthy way to usually deal with stress. The other healthy way to deal with stress is to figure out the source of where it's coming from. If you can figure out the source and you can approach that, that's another good way to deal with it. Another good, healthy way to deal with stress is to take a second to clear your mind. I'm not saying, you know, to sit there and watch 3 hours of television and then come back. No. What I'm saying is take a couple of moments to clear your mind of whatever it is that you might be thinking, whatever negative thoughts you might be thinking. Just clear your mind and then look at what it is that's causing this stress in your life. Usually, if you do those things, they're healthy ways to deal with it. They're harder than the quick and easy fixes, but they'll leave you with a better long-term progress of dealing with stress. After you've done those things and you've approached them and you've taken care of it how you needed to, you don't have to worry about there possibly still be a bleeding underneath that Band-Aid, because you didn't apply a Band-Aid. You dealt directly with the wound. So dealing with the stress directly is usually the most healthy way. But those other two ones that I said work too. But in order to deal with stress head on, this leads right into the fourth way. And you're gonna notice that all of these ways that I'm saying, they're linked to each other. Like, that's on purpose. When you're doing one way and you're doing one method, it's gonna run you right into the next one. And if you're doing all of these, usually for me, I find it's the best way that I can cope and I can deal with stress immediately. So the other way, the fourth way, or the fourth method, the fourth way that I usually deal with stress and to be able, to approach it head on, is to be strong in yourself. So in my case, being strong in myself is the fourth way. And the reason for that is that strength in yourself is required because you need to be strong in yourself so that you can tell whether or not this is something that you can deal with or whether or not you need the assistance of someone outside to help you to deal with this. See, being strong in yourself doesn't mean carrying the burden on yourself. Being strong in yourself is being able to know when you need to ask for help because you can't do it all yourself. It's understanding your strengths and your limitations. That's what being strong in yourself means. That mental awareness of being able to realize this is something I can't deal with on my own, I gotta ask someone for help. That mental awareness requires more strength than trying to deal with the stress head on by yourself. This is why usually it's tougher for you to ask for help than for you to do something. And the fifth and final way, after I've, realized, okay, maybe this is something I need to ask someone for help, or whether I realize, no, you know what, I can handle this, I can deal with this. The fifth way that I usually deal with stress is I manage my time better. Yeah, this is big. I've found more times than not that the causes of my own stress is usually my own doing. And they're usually somehow, one way or another, have to do with me not managing my time better. Whether it's me not, devoting enough time to myself, or whether it's me spending too much time trying to get something done, or whether it's me just not paying attention to how much time I may have lost doing a task. It's always come back to me managing my time better. So I want to say to you guys that one of the best ways to deal with stress is to manage your time better. Whether it's because you haven't limited the amount of time you've spent on something, and because you've overworked yourself, it's now led to you being stressed. Whether it's you procrastinating and putting something off and doing a bunch of other things that were not more important in that moment, which has now led to something important that should have been done a long time ago, but not being done, now rearing its ugly head back at you. Whether it's not spending enough time for yourself, meaning taking some time off for your own mental clarity. Whether it's one of these things or not, I guarantee you, if you go back and you take a look, the causes of your stress probably have something to do with managing your time, and probably has to do with you managing your time better. So I would recommend that when you feel stressed out, usually take a second take a look at what you really have planned to do. Take a look at whether this is something that you've been pushing off, or take a look at if this is something that you spent way too much time dwelling on. Take a look, see what it is. See if you're just stressed out because you're overworked and you haven't given yourself enough leisure time. Take a look and see what it is. I guarantee you, if you take a look, it's gonna come back to that time thing. And if you can figure out which one it is that's affecting you, and you can get that in the right scope, it's probably gonna make that stress go away a lot faster than you'll even believe. It might not seem like it now, but it'll be a lot faster than you would even think if you just manage your time better. And that's it. Those are my methods. Those are my, if you want to say, tricks, or my steps, or my ways of managing stress. I hope that they help you. I hope at least one of them helps you, if they don't all help you, because stress is something that no one should have to deal with it longer than they already have. Again, even though it's part of life, it doesn't mean that you can't control it. So hopefully my little tips and my little methods help you deal with your stress. If they do, or if you just like this content, then go ahead, hit me with a like. Bam! If you feel like sharing the video, please go ahead and share it. I don't mind. And if you want to see some more videos like this with some more helpful content and some more, little things that can help you overall, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. I keep saying that, subscribe to the channel, because if you subscribe, you're gonna get like a little notification, and you get like a little email that's gonna tell you when my videos post, and then you can click them and you can get all this information at the drop of a dime as soon as it comes out, when it's hot off the presses. So go ahead, feel free to do that, and until the next one, I hope you guys just keep managing your stress, and I hope you keep living life to the best. Later.